All right. Hello, everybody. This is Mike the Biz with my co host Tito. And today we are going to go over the SummerSlam aftermath and the OTC, aka the original tribal chief, returning at SummerSlam. So, again, it's already been about a week since that happened, actually. So, again, happy Sunday. Today's August 11th. And we are just getting set up here for you guys. Hopefully, everyone's having a good weekend. I just got back from some tax-free weekend shopping, so saved myself a couple of cents on the dollar here, right? About another pair of shoes, my like 20th pair of shoes out here. so we're just dealing with that. I'm trying to match up the tribal chief over here with the Jordans. He was wearing some Jumpman Jacks on Friday night on his return Friday. Yeah, so he was wearing some Travis Scott. So they're Travis Scotts, but they're Nike Jordan Jumpman Jacks. That's what they're called. But anyways, how's it going, Tito? How's it going on your end, man?
It's going. I can't really complain at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's been an eventful, beginning of August. I can say that. So it's good.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, so far so good. I was talking about it on my stream yesterday, and I was like, man, I can't believe how far we into the year already. Just literally feels like we just started the year, and it's always like that. I guess the older you get, the faster time goes. I don't know how that works, because when you're a kid, it seems like the summers last forever and winter breaks and stuff like that. But as an adult, they just flash by.
Yeah.
They flash by. So, but yeah, I did want to play the return video of hopefully we don't get taken down here from copyright. I'm not taking it off YouTube specifically. I'm ripping it from Twitter, but show a little bits and pieces of the OTC returning at SummerSlam. We'll talk a little bit about SummerSlam and like you said, Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. Maybe talk a little bit about AEW. I think I put AEW in the title also of today's video. Maybe we can get a few people in here.
Maybe we'll see.
Maybe we're only streaming on the Deathlock pod page directly, so I'm not we're not multi streaming on like like I was before, like on Twitter. So let's go ahead and play this for you guys. Hopefully you guys can let me know if you guys can't hear it. But yeah, this is the return of the OTC, and the pop is crazy. Probably one of the biggest pops I've heard in a long minute. You ready, Tito?
I'm ready, man. It never gets old.
All right, let's go.
Instinctively or otherwise.
Oh no, hold on. I don't think it's playing through here. Hold on. Could you hear anything?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Because like that's a good shot, man. I love the shots. I love how WWE implements their shots now, especially on returns like this. I thought it was pretty crazy. What was going through your mind when he was returning here, Tito?
I mean, I already figured that his target was Solo.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're gonna lead up to that, that Bloodline Civil War. I was actually quite happy because I was thinking, that they were gonna like tease his return at SummerSlam, but kind of prolong it just a little.
Yeah.
But happy to be wrong. This is like one of those times where like I was so happy to be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from the moment that he returned, I think the funniest thing is the fans. So many good fans that come up with so much memes out of this clip. Like my favorite ones always reference like, when the kids don't behave and mom calls for dad and dad walks into the rooms, like, and then they play this clip. It's like,
yeah,
dad's come to spank that ass. So it was good.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. It's probably as good as when CM Punk returned last year at Survivor Series. Like, he probably got a bigger pop, honestly, than CM Punk. I mean, I
believe he did.
Punk always gets big pops, right? But I mean, I think the return pop, and it's pretty crazy to think that, like, he's only been gone like 3 months. It's only been 3 months. You know what I mean? We're barely in August. WrestleMania happened back in April or late March or whatever. I don't even remember exactly when it happened.
Yeah, it was April.
But early April. They usually first week of April usually now, and it's like it's barely August. We're summer's coming to an end and school starting, but it's like, man, like, how is he so over? Like, how is this guy so over when so many people wanted him gone? Over the past couple of years, a lot of people hated his title run, right? I first of all, just my personal opinion, I didn't hate his title run. I think a lot of people were critical because of it, because he was never there, obviously. he would go like 1 or 2 months without being on the show. But I think that's not completely horrible thing, because you're kind of wanting you're kind of getting the fans to want more of something when it's not
Yeah.
there. It's kind of like when they did that with Brock Lesnar. As well, right? Obviously he was the guy back then, a couple years before Roman was, and they were doing that, for the longest time when he was, WWE champion. I think Lesnar held the Universal title for 500 plus days also. So it was the same thing. He was kind of going back and forth. So of course they had to focus more on like the secondary title, which there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Puts more eyes on the other show either way.
Yeah.
But yeah. Sorry, going back to that. Again, why do you think people are so excited to see him back?
Oh yeah. The thing is, with Roman's time, and his title run, it did what it was supposed to do. I mean, even if people didn't like his title run, I mean that's what they felt, in in the front of their mind as a wrestling fan. Like it was annoying. It was picking away at them. They were just itching to watch, to waiting to someone to take that title off of him, and so they would always cue in. One of the things that I like to compare Roman's title run, in the same context of like in boxing with Floyd Mayweather, when people were wanting his undefeated streak to end. And people, every time like Floyd Mayweather had a match, everyone was just like, oh yeah, they're going with the guy that's going against him. Canelo Alvarez would be the one to take him out, or Manny Pacquiao would be the one to take him out. And it was in that same context. So it didn't surprise me the moment he lost his title to Cody, and then he just completely went off, off TV for a while, that the fans would respond the way that they did in his return. I feel like that, his run right now, and even prior to this, during his time as the leader of the Blood Pack,
Yeah,
Bloodline,
the Blood Pack. I like that.
the
Wolf Pack and the Wolf Pack. Yeah.
The thing about Roman, is I feel like his heel persona, and just his persona in general, has already reached an area comparable to Triple H, right? Like Triple H was a very good heel.
Yeah.
And even in times where Triple H was a face for a little bit of time, you really didn't see too much of a change in his attitude. It was just the fans were, he was over with the fans when he was a face. He was hated by the fans when he was a heel. And that's why I was saying, like, in Roman's situation, it's the same thing. He's not going to change who he is. It's just the fans are changing and adapting to him, which is hard for a superstar to pretty much achieve in this business.
Oh, yeah.
Is to stay, planted exactly where they are and make the universe revolve around them rather than them revolve around the universe.
Yeah.
That's my take on it.
Yeah, well, very good take. I mean, I definitely agree. You know what I mean? It's like, it's one of the, a lot of people say that Roman Reigns is one of those guys that obviously has the it factor, right? And he has like an aura to him that, the guy doesn't even have to talk, right? He's just one of those guys that, he's there, and people want to watch what he does. There's not a lot of wrestlers out there that can do that, right? Guys like Brock Lesnar, guys like The Rock, Steve Austin, for instance, right? Where people they don't have to say much, but they let their actions do the talking for them.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I guess let's go from there. Let's go ahead and, I don't know if you want to recap SummerSlam a little bit.
Yeah, we can.
That was the pop of the night. Now we can just go straight to Raw and SmackDown. But yeah, basically, we got to see over here. I don't want to get copyright striked over here.
You shouldn't, because we've been speaking over it. So that's one of the things about it, is like it can always be claimed as fair use act, because it's not just the video all on its own. We've actually added commentary to it. As soon as I started speaking through it,
well, YouTube, they just do anything about anything. So
RKO though.
When
I like that look that he gave Cody.
Yeah.
That look to me, I mean, if you can say it in so many words, that look almost came off of like, this is how you get it done type of thing. Like, he's just looking at Cody like, what are you doing, dancing with this guy all night? And I took him out like that.
But also, to me, it's like a look of like, I'm here, and there's some sort of respect between, you and I, because, the entire time that Reigns was champion, he was begging someone to come take the title off of him, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he would say it all the time. He's like, you want to be the top guy, take it from me. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't bullshitting when he was saying that, right?
Yeah.
He was being, you got to give respect to that, and that's something that I kind of always appreciated, like during his run as champion, because he never, like, I feel like he never, like, lied to the people that he was, like,
Yeah.
telling shit to. You know what I mean? And yeah, of course, there was heel tactics, involved in his victories over the years, obviously, right? But I mean, there was a few wins. There was a few times where he won clean. You know what I mean? With
Yeah.
no interference. So it's like,
But
okay.
but you also got to take into context too. Like Roman has such a good footing in the business to understand the business.
Yeah.
I think the article that I read. I think I talked to you about it, but
Hmm.
um, where he was told like hey last year's WrestleMania you're gonna drop the belt to Cody, and he was like, no, I'm not dropping the belt to Cody. He's like, but I'm gonna drop the belt to him a year later.
Yeah.
And they didn't agree with him to it, but it actually turned out to be good because Cody came that close until he got Samoan spiked by Solo and he lost. And then
Yeah.
his fight to come back up to the main top to challenge at WrestleMania again, going through Brock Lesnar, having 3 matches against Brock Lesnar and earning Brock's respect, and then feuding with the Judgment Day,
Hmm.
having these different feuds here and there, and leading up to the Royal Rumble, and then obviously after the Royal Rumble, his whole shtick with The Rock, it worked out magically. And honestly, I have not heard one wrestling fan, one wrestling podcast even mention the fact that they were like upset or bored with the
Yeah.
length of time it took Cody to come back. So
Yeah.
Roman, uh, he has a mind for the business. It wouldn't surprise me that once his time is done, that he doesn't leave, but ends up going in the back to help the younger generation kind of build upon what he's laid the foundation for. So it wouldn't surprise me. He's got a good mind.
That could be possible, and I don't disagree there. But I also think that he is going to possibly follow in his cousin's footsteps and maybe go towards Hollywood eventually, right? I feel like this,
Oh yeah,
that last run that he had pretty much was, maybe his last title run. I mean, who knows? He could, win the championship again, right? I don't think, that run will be duplicated anytime soon, right? As far as how long someone's going to hold that belt for, but I think it's going to be interesting. Again, he could be, because like the motto that he had, he's like, I'm going to wreck everybody and leave, basically, right? So
oh yeah.
I mean, again, that there's maybe he was foretelling something, saying like, hey, like I'm gonna do what I need to do, and then just get the hell out of here. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, not drag it like John Cena, if you know what I mean.
I mean, yeah, I can see him making his way into Hollywood, into the action scene.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think so.
he didn't, like, he didn't have a lot of parts in the Hobbs and Shaw movie,
I never
but
saw that movie.
yeah, towards
Yeah,
the end, I mean, he did have a presence. Like, regardless if he didn't have any dialogue to speak, he had a
yeah.
presence. Like, you could literally spot him in that movie.
Oh
So
yeah. I mean, everyone knows who he was. I mean, he was already a big star in the WWE. When that was happening either way. So I got to. We'll see. We'll see. I think that's going to be something that happens with him. He's got a good look, obviously. I think I see him being bigger than Cena as far as the acting goes. But I mean, who knows? We'll see. I guess we'll see.
yeah, yeah,
Anyways, looks like we got someone in the chat here among gangstas. I don't know who that guy is, but you know,
oh
he
man.
might be hustling somewhere out there.
But given it a take, with SummerSlam, just how the way that it rolled out. I mean,
Yeah.
I kind of really don't want to go like too much match by match.
Yeah. I think let's just go over like the important parts of what happened, right? So,
Yeah.
we can talk about, like, obviously the first this was my favorite match of the night was Rhea versus Liv Morgan.
Oh yeah.
Rated match. I don't really want to we don't have to really get too much into the match, but basically Dominic Mysterio betrays Rhea Ripley towards the end, right?
Yeah.
And he goes off with Liv. That was pretty. I knew it was gonna happen. I kind of called that. I was like, dude, if that's gonna happen, it's gonna happen at SummerSlam, right?
Yeah, you called that one.
Yeah,
I think, like I said, I got my predictions on that one. I
yeah,
was only half right on it, but you know
yeah,
what? Like it really was a lot bigger than just looking
Yeah.
at like one match at a thing, because
Hmm.
the whole thing with the Judgment Day, honestly, Finn masterminding
Hmm.
the entire downfall and exiling the last two original members of the Judgment Day, with
Yeah.
Dom screwing over Rhea and then
Hmm.
Finn screwing over Damien.
Damian
So
Priest. Yeah.
yeah,
You know.
so it was a lot. So like when I thought Finn was going to be the one to do it, it didn't happen during Rhea's match.
Yeah.
It happened during Priest's match, and so I was like,
Hmm.
oh, okay, well, you know what? I mean, it's time for Damian Priest and for Rhea to kind of step away from that group. So you know, it's becoming fitting. But I do have to remind wrestling fans that Rhea Ripley is married.
And so is Dominic Mysterio. People forget about
Yeah.
that. He
Oh my
got married
God. People,
recently.
people are like, someone posted a thing and they're like, Stephanie and Triple H started a relationship on screen and eventually became a real relationship. And I'm like, what is a possibility that Dom can end up, that way in the future if they continuously keep him with Liv? But I don't really see him doing that just yet. Wrestlers do have a hard time staying married to their high school sweethearts. That's just because they're
Yeah.
always on the road. They're like 300 days on the
Right.
road.
Yeah, like I mean, you see stuff like this happen all the time, and the thing is, yeah, like I think, like I'll give an example, right? Sammy Guevara, right? When he got into AEW, I think he proposed to his like high school sweetheart on one of the shows, and I don't recall if they ever got married or whatever, but they ended up breaking it off, obviously, because he met the other love of his life, which was Taya Conti, aka Tay Mello. Now, I guess the reason why she changed her name was because she was also married. I think so.
Ah.
So she was also married. So that was her married last name. Conti was her married last name. So originally her maiden name was Mello. So
Mm.
they that happened. So again, who knows? I mean, we'll see what happens with Dominic Mysterio. I don't know. I mean, obviously it's an angle, right? I don't
Yeah.
think it's a real thing, but you never know, man. Shit, like I mean, stuff like that. When you're working together like that, things come up, man. You know what I mean? And I'm
Yeah.
sure Dom, I'm sure he's got a thing for the white girls. You already know.
But
So
but give us got to give a shout out to Dom though, because it's like
yeah,
one of the things that like I had a conversation with people on
the
Reddit.
Spanish
It
guy.
was so funny because during the time that Rhea and Dom were an item in WWE, like you really didn't see too much of like on screen
Yeah. No,
affection from
yeah.
Dom towards her, which
Yep.
is funny because people would always like put a thing out there like, oh yeah, she's engaged, this and that, and I'm like, yeah, don't forget who she's engaged to. And at the time in
Yeah.
WWE, who he had a relationship with, because he had a
Hmm.
relationship with Dominic's sister.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's true also. That's funny, but again, that was an on-screen thing. So,
yeah.
I mean, but that's pretty funny. I mean, you never know what's Dom's sister's name's Talia or something like that.
Yeah,
She
so it's
she
like,
might be back, who knows? I mean,
but it's like a
she
funny thing. So like that's the
yeah.
reason why Dom and Rhea could have that on-screen relation. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously there's a connection there off-screen,
Yeah.
where everyone is in mutual agreement. So people
Yeah.
just gotta kind of look
And
beyond that.
I always kind of appreciated that there was never like anything like, crazy going on screen between them, right? Obviously, this is the PG. We're still kind of in the PG era, right? We're transitioning back to maybe something a little more hardcore once Raw moves over to Netflix, but I think that I appreciated what was happening there, and of course we didn't really see a lot of like hugging or Rhea maybe gave him a peck on the cheek right here and there,
Or licked his
or
face.
licked his face. I think that was more towards the end, right? I think that
Yeah.
was when she returned, and we didn't really see a lot of that from her. So,
Yeah.
and I think that was fine. You didn't really need to.
Yeah, they didn't have to go. It is like, this is not porn, people. They didn't
right.
have to go that far into it. But other than that, I mean, yeah, it was a good move to exile the original
Yeah.
Judgment Day members. I think it was.
Yeah.
Beyond that, the Drew McIntyre CM Punk match, it didn't disappoint. And
Yeah.
we
I mean,
figured
that was
Drew was gonna
probably technically that should have been the main event of the show, but they
win.
obviously respected, the other titles that were on the show. So, I mean, they had a
Plus
lot of
two
title
runners,
matches
I
on the
think.
show. I didn't realize though that we're going to have that many championship matches on the show.
Oh yeah, I'm,
Honestly,
I'm
the
pretty
only
sure.
yeah,
What's
go
the
ahead.
name? I'm pretty sure that Mills is like, he probably did a backflip and everything the moment that Gunther became our new world heavyweight champion. It was a good match.
Yeah.
Even though Finn got involved, like before even Finn got involved, like Damien held his own against him. And
Yeah.
at a point, I really didn't think that, okay, you know what? Maybe Damien might retain and Gunther might lose. Because usually when Gunther wrestles, like you see his dominance and his presence in the ring, you're like, oh yeah, this guy's gonna win. But in that scenario, I didn't feel that. It could have gone either way.
I mean, my prediction obviously was wrong on that. I thought he was going to lose and something was going to happen to where maybe
I did
he was
too.
going to at least, Priest was going to at least hold the title till, the next pay-per-view, which
Bash
would be
in
in
Berlin.
Germany, Bash in Berlin. That would have been more meaningful, but I guess, it's still going to be big him going into the PLE as champion over there. Like he's going to get a good crowd response. So the match overall was actually pretty good. I actually enjoyed that match also. You know what I mean? It was pretty heavy hitting. I was really impressed by Damian Priest in the match, right? Like, a lot of people don't really appreciate what he can do in the ring.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the guy, even though he hasn't been as in the business as long as maybe some other wrestlers, right? He's getting it done and he's showcasing why, they put the strap on him. And the match, was hard hitting between both guys. And I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. And, just to add a note on top of that, like, we're kind of like, recapping SummerSlam and kind of leading into Raw and SmackDown. So there's always going to be back and forth on that. But to the fans out there who's like, oh my God, Randy Orton's going to win. I know I saw that comment. If Randy Orton, takes a title, I'm like, he's not going to take the title. They're not going to put the World Heavyweight Champion on Gunther to remove it off of him in just a month. Like it doesn't make sense. Randy doesn't need a title. So these days, Randy's more focused on putting the younger guys over.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's who they're feeding to Gunther for his championship run. His first victim, and I hate to say it that way, but it is going to be Randy Orton, and Randy Orton is not going to win.
I mean, who knows? I mean, now that Ludwig Kaiser is back, obviously we're going to see a lot more heel tactics with him, being back and interfering in matches, right?
Yeah.
Gunther, he's one of those heel. It's funny because it's like, that championship match, it was kind of like heel versus heel. And to a certain degree, Rhea Ripley technically was still a heel in some aspects, versus Liv Morgan as well, right? So it's kind of interesting because I feel like WWE is kind of going against the grain here, and you're getting interesting matchups. Randy Orton, obviously, he's a face right now, but it's like seeing him versus Gunther, right? Obviously, he's been such a good heel in the past that I never really consider Randy Orton a face ever because he's just so unpredictable. He's always been unpredictable in his career when it comes to like his heel and face turns or whatever. But we'll see, man. That's the match that I'm kind of I'm hoping it's a good match.
I think it would be a good match. Obviously, because that's a grudge too, right? I mean, like he made it very clear that he got the title the title match with Gunther because Gunther didn't technically beat him for the King of the Ring. So, I think it's a good move to start off with Randy Orton as his opponent. It leads up to a lot of the newer, younger talent to really kind of like push themselves up there, including guys like like Jey Uso, which I don't think Jey Uso is going to challenge for that title anytime soon. Honestly, I feel like if Jay's going to get his first singles title, it's going to be the Intercontinental Championship. Eventually, it's going to be him and Braun Breaker. Is what I think is going to happen.
Sorry, I'm reading among gangsters comments over here.
I know. If Randy wins, I don't think they get transition to who.
Honestly, that could happen, right? Where he wins, and then they have a rematch, maybe like not even a week or two later, and Gunther wins it back, Or I'm sorry, Gunther over here. The disrespect you show your champion. Oh my God, Gunther. Actually, he pronounces it Gunther. That's how you're supposed to pronounce it, actually. Gunther. Not the only reason why people say Gunther is because of how the ring announcer Samantha Irvin says it. She gives it a little twist there, which there's nothing wrong with saying it that way either.
But if you want to be technical on it, like when most people kind of stress the accent, it's actually pronounced Gunther. Like the TH is not emphasized. So it's Gunther. Well,
Give me a second. I got a phone call real quick.
Yeah, no worries. I'll handle it from here. But other than that, I like him as a world heavyweight champion. He is M. Bison in WWE right now. Like, dude is like literally untouchable to that point, and he's only going to get better over time. And I don't think he's going to be, dropping the belt anytime soon. I don't think he's going to have a long run like his Intercontinental Championship did. But I do think he is out to be champion for a while, if not anything, all the way up until WrestleMania, where they have him a WrestleMania opponent to just kind of like kick things off. The night.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. The night was pretty eventful. Just before transitioning into Raw, just kind of just laying out. The Logan Paul LA Knight match. Glad to see LA Knight as United States champion having a singles title. That was pretty amazing and awesome. Finally, it happened.
I mean, I think it's I feel like the LA Knight thing is way late. Like that should have happened since last year, man. Honestly, like I don't know. I get it though, because like at the time there was just too many big storylines happening that they kind of had to put him in the back burner, right? But I mean, he did get a few moments, last year when he got to face, Roman Reigns at Crown Jewel or whatever, one of the Saudi pay-per-views. I mean, I think he was more over then than he is now, but he's still getting crowd reactions, very good crowd reactions from these like stadium shows. And I mean, if you saw SmackDown, obviously, you already know.
Yeah. Kind of just like speed running this, but I guess I'll say this, just to close out, the SummerSlam thing, because SummerSlam's been out, everyone has seen the results. But I think my least favorite match of the night was Bayley versus Nia Jax.
Yeah,
it was. I thought there would have been a better debacle with Tiffany Stratton, but that didn't happen, and Nia remains our women's champion.
And mine was probably Zayn versus Braun Breaker. That was like this. That was more of a squash match. I think the Bayley and Nia Jax match went a little bit longer. I think that was like at least 12 or 13 minutes. But Zayn and Braun Breaker 6 minutes. I was just like, what is this? Like to kind of hype up Sami Zayn like they have been since WrestleMania. And him being the guy for that IC belt, man, and then just taking it away like that. It's like, well. I mean, I guess we've seen worse in the past, right?
Yeah, we have.
We have, especially with like main titles. Like we've seen like guys like Bryan Danielson lose the belt in like less than a minute, and then just so forth, right? It's been pretty crazy. Obviously Drew McIntyre losing the belt at Mania in like less than 5 minutes. Also, it's just like okay, like what are we doing here? It's ridiculous, man. Honestly. But overall, probably my second favorite pay-per-view of the year so far, and that's because the PLEs have been awesome this year, man. Honestly, all of them have been hitting hard.
Yeah, they're really going in, and they're booking in a good way. So I like that too, as and they're allowing storylines to develop. Basically, I'm going to say organically to that extent. You're not really seeing just kind of like a rush. And it's a good thing too that like certain superstars are keeping in condition and things like that. So that way they don't have to do pivotal storyline changes because of injuries and things like that. That always throws a wrench into the whole project. And so good on the superstars for that. But Monday Night Raw, man.
So I didn't get to see Raw live, unfortunately. So I actually had to like watch the replay on it the next day. But I mean, one of my buddies who was texting me, like giving me the recap, saying like, "Wow, like the Raw is actually really good." It was a good follow-up show to SummerSlam.
Oh yeah, it definitely was. And to whoever the user is, I can't find the video because when you're on TikTok and you accidentally refresh, it just like refreshes the whole timeline. But somebody took the clip where Rhea slammed Liv into the side turnbuckle post.
Oh yeah.
And what they did was they took that clip and they took the audio from when The Rock and Mankind went at it, and The Rock sung "Bells Will Be Ringing."
Oh my god!
And when she smashed Maria smashed Liv into it, you just hear The Rock "Bells Will Be Ringing." I'm like, oh my god. So shout out to the dude who made that. If I find it, I'll share it to you in the DM.
Yeah, send it to me. Maybe it's somewhere floating around on X or Twix, whatever you want to call it, I guess.
It was somewhere around there, but
it
was good. Raw was I thought the aftermath of SummerSlam on Raw kind of kicked things off. Damien had a good promo. I thought it was really clear. I didn't really see anything wrong with the things that he said. Of course, Finn, being the diabolical fiend that he is, and hiding, with the new Judgment Day, and making that realized, right, when he said his family and they just all come into the camera view, and it's just like,
Mhm.
okay, yeah, we're right. Dominic, Liv, and we got JD McDonough, Carlito, and Finn. And the funny thing is that they talked in that promo about there's no leaders, we're supposed to have each other's back. Yet you
Yeah.
can really see the hypocrisy immediately off of that because Finn
Mhm.
is asserting himself as the leader. So
Yeah, I mean it's a little bit hypocritical, but I think it's going to be an interesting, thing for him going forward because, like, man, like Finn, was so over a couple years back, man, and he's one of those guys that he's a smaller wrestler also, but he was very popular, especially with the gimmick he had, right, the Demon Balor,
yeah,
where he
Demon
would bust
Balor,
it
I
out,
miss that.
I feel like we're maybe getting glimpses of maybe seeing that return eventually, because obviously under the Vinnie Mac era they killed it, man. It was kind of sad,
Yeah,
right? It was so over in NXT when he was there, and the fact that like he ended up having to go back to NXT for a little bit, to kind of revamp his career, and then he came back and got it back into the Judgment Day, and I mean, seeing what he's doing now, he had some banger matches with Seth Rollins last year, obviously, right? For the world title, it didn't win. Obviously, it plays into the storyline going on with the Judgment Day and Damian Priest kind of screwing over him last year when he was wrestling Rollins for the title, and he ended up
yeah,
losing because of Priest. So right, I mean it's a long-term storytelling, guys. It actually works, right?
yeah.
Unlike other companies where the wrestling is the story, guys.
Oh God,
Yeah,
they can get over that shit. And I mean, like, if you can tell a good story,
yeah.
you can really have something magical there. So, like, I believe I'm hearing that for Bash at Berlin,
Mhm.
it will be a mixed gender tag match. Damian Priest and Rhea against Dom and Liv. Do you really think that with the storyline advancing with the Judgment Day, you really think that that's the best way to start it off? Is having those two go at it right now, or do you think they should have prolonged that a little bit, kind of like sparing until that pinnacle moment where Rhea and Liv can go at it again? Like, what do you think?
I think they should hold it. I think they are going to hold it. I mean, it's probably going to end up like in a Hell in a Cell match, honestly, for Bad Blood, most
Yeah,
likely, right? I mean, it's not one of those things. I feel like they should build it up a little bit more, just because again, it's going to be one of those pay-per-views that is going to wait. Who the heck is texting me? Ah, okay. We have a special guest that might want to join in. Oh gosh,
all
never
right.
mind. Okay, I don't have this number saved, so if you're listening among gangstas, or I don't know who that is, by the way. I think I know who it is, but okay. Apparently, I had already sent him the stream. I'm gonna put. Hold on, I'm gonna create a new contact, I guess, because I'm just gonna hold on. Let me create a new contact. Who the hell is this? Mill something. Mill Gussels. Mill Devin. You can put Mill Hustles too, because I already have like Mill Hustles on here already. So okay. Anyways, okay. So yeah, going back. Yeah, I think it's something that obviously we're gonna probably see bits and pieces of, but I think it's gonna be where like Liv and Dom are kind of like running away all the time from it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So we'll
yeah,
see, man. But I think it's gonna be a good build up, right? I think we're gonna see more than one Hell in a Cell match at Bad Blood. I think that's what's gonna happen leading into Bad Blood. I forget when that's gonna happen exactly, but I know they are bringing that back.
yeah. The funniest thing was like I said, like my daughter watches wrestling with me, and she watched Raw. And she felt bad for Liv because when Rhea hit the ring and chased after them, like Rhea's fast, and she caught Liv going over the barricade, and
Yeah,
Dom was gone. And my
yeah,
daughter's like,
he's split.
how scared is he? He's a chicken shit. He just left his girl like that. And I'm like, so I
Yeah.
showed her old clips before Dom joined the Judgment Day, and Rhea was kicking
Mhm.
his ass
Oh
behind.
yeah.
So I'm like, this is why he ran pretty fast.
Yeah,
This
because
is
he
why.
already knows. He knows how strong mommy is, first of all, and he
Yeah, so he had to get out of there. But
he knows what mommy can do.
he did come back for her though. He spared her from going through a table.
Yeah, I mean, technically, that's what we saw, right? He did do a few things to prevent her from losing the match. Also at SummerSlam, right? He took away the
Yeah,
chair and said, "Hey, you can't win like this."
yeah.
And I mean, but even then, like I mean, Liv Morgan took advantage, etc. I think it was they were all good spots. Like they the
It
spots
was.
were. in the match. That was my favorite match of the night, guys. Honestly, I was like, hyped up for it.
It was really good, and I want to point out something to the fans out there. If you watch the match again, watch it in context. Liv and Dom actually didn't have an alliance in that match.
Yeah,
like Liv
really
had no idea Dom was going to screw over Rhea and help her. The look on her face when he did it obviously tells a tale for how the story is supposed to go. Like, yes, they were kind of fooling around, whatever, but it was never planned for Liv to know that Dom was going to do that. So, yeah, just for people out there that's like, why did she act so surprised? She knew he was going to do it. No, she didn't.
Okay, I'm going to tell you the reason why Dom did what he did, okay? And it's 2 words, okay? Daisy Dukes, okay?
Daisy Dukes.
The Daisy Dukes.
But like, in all seriousness too, like the other aspect to it, in a more serious stance, a lot of people are saying that, since Dom did do it as probably a last minute decision to do that, but it would also make sense that he would do that too. And the reason why is it would have to go back to what he said backstage on Raw before SummerSlam, where he asked Rhea if there was a thing between her and Jay, because she said yeet when they asked if Jay had her number.
Yep.
So there's a lot of things that were thrown out behind the scenes that obviously led to Dom's decision. But
yeah, I could see, like, hold on, just so you're mentioning Jey Uso, I can see some sort of alliance there. Maybe we might see some mixed tag action leading into their feuds, right? And maybe Jay starts a feud with Dominic Mysterio. But also, the lead in for, Roman Reigns to, obviously come back and maybe, bring the original bloodline together. There has to be something there also. So
that is going to happen.
It's going to happen. But when is it going to happen? Are they going to push it towards Survivor Series?
More than likely for War Games.
Are we going to get maybe like, something like at WrestleMania? Or maybe like an elimination chamber, something like that, right?
I think so. I think Survivor Series. I think Survivor Series for the Bloodline Civil War to start, like to really kick it into high gear, where you have the OG Bloodline, and then with Zilla Fatu, and then the new Bloodline.
Yeah,
I also feel like that, because we still haven't gotten The Rock yet, so I feel like that's Roman's opponent at WrestleMania. I don't, at this point right now, when it comes to Roman, he does like you said earlier. It's true. He doesn't have to say anything. He hasn't said one word and already has the pop that he has and has the views that he's generating for WWE. So, when The Rock comes back, I feel like that's who he's going to go after, because he doesn't need a title. Like, he doesn't need Cody's title. He's ascended beyond that. Like, Cody is climbing the ranks. Roman has hit the ranks. In my opinion, he's up there already with Stone Cold. Not exactly on Stone Cold's level, but he's up there gaining to it. So a belt he doesn't need. So
he's like a Cena level right now. I think he's one of those guys that a lot of people might put him on the Rushmore of wrestlers. In 10, 15 years, right? They'll be like, oh, okay, Roman Reigns. But of course, there's going to be different eras, right, where people say that, like, oh, who's your top 4, right? But we can get into that later. But yeah, I agree that he is at that level where he no longer needs a championship belt. And no matter what he does, he's always going to be in some sort of main event, picture.
Yeah, I think he's still in the cool down phase. I think if Roman does get another title run, it's going to be a little while till he's in the title run picture, because he doesn't need it. So if it ever happens down the road, it would just be to add another notch on his belt. So with Jey Uso, he can form an alliance with, and honestly, I feel like that storyline wise, it would probably make more sense for Rhea and Jay to start building on that relationship leading up to a mixed gender tag match. Just because, like, it would make sense for Damian to back Rhea, but Damian's got a personal thing with Finn, and I feel like that letting Damian focus on Finn and the Judgment Day, letting Rhea focus on Liv and Dom, and letting Jay come into the mix. I think we'll because, dude, like, the 3 of them, Damian, Rhea, Jay, like, they have a thing going. Like, I don't know if anyone's ever watched online YouTube. You can catch some of like the house shows, but there's been house shows where, like, Jay's gotten Damian to do the yeet to the crowd, and they've been cross changing that, right? When he had that thing about asking if Rhea was single, and Jay said, he says yeet. It's like,
and there's been a lot of segments also where they're Damian and Jay are talking. There's a lot of respect there, like, and that's what I like. That's one of the things I liked about Damian Priest. Like, a lot of people don't like get like the type of champion he was, but like he was the like a very respectful champion, if that makes any sense, right?
Yeah.
Like, probably more than Cody. Like probably more than Cody, honestly.
And on top of that, he didn't resort to a heelish tactic. I mean, they happened because his team just didn't know when to stay out of his business. But he was on that level. Like even after the whole match that turned triple threat, with the World Heavyweight Championship, he even told Seth Rollins, like, our gentleman's agreement, squash it, because CM Punk interfered. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty honorable.
Yeah, so that's why I have a little bit of respect there. It was a little boring going in, right? But it kind of got better towards the end of his title reign. I think the first few months were a little shaky, and then right towards the end, once they started, feuding with the guys like Seth, your Seth Rollins and your Gunther. Okay, he was feuding with bigger names. Obviously, it just got better. So hopefully, maybe hopefully that's not his only title run, but I mean we've seen it in the past where sometimes they only give someone the title once and then that's it.
Yeah, I think Damien's future is bright. I do think later on down the road, he'll get a better run with the championship. Obviously, I think that this title run was just kind of like an enhancement to kind of further build upon his being a singles again. Allowing him to lose the belt to Gunther, let Gunther run with the title because he's deserving of it, but also allowing Damien to break away from the Judgment Day, feud with them, put that feud to bed, and then start having prestigious matches against those that matter, elevating him as a singles. By the time that he gets a title run again, there's not really questioning it if he's a paper champion or not or whatever. It will be something that will be 10 times better than what he had right now.
Oh,
I feel like
all right, we have a special guest joining in right here, guys. Let's go ahead and bring him in. We got DG in the house. Dark Gunther.
Gunther.
So I tried to join through Google Chrome, and it says, "I'm sorry, this link does not work," but I did it through Brave, and it works. And I don't have an iPhone at the moment; it's out for repair. So.
Oh wow. Oh yeah, Google Chrome. I don't know. It crashes all the time with Restream, so I'm not gonna use Restream anymore with that on my phones.
Yeah.
It's trash.
Yeah.
But I got a few minutes. I'm in between rounds right now. So what's going on? So I see y'all talking about post WrestleMania, Roman and all that.
Well, post SummerSlam.
Post SummerSlam. Gunther's new championship run.
I kept thinking it was WrestleMania. I don't know why.
It had the vibe.
It was a good show. And next year it's going to start being 2 nights. So
I know.
Crazy, man.
Confuse me even more.
But that's always been the plan, though, right? SummerSlam is considered like the WrestleMania of summer.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I mean, I could see it being 2 nights, and it's always good because it gives more, it gives more eyes on the product, but it also gives more eyes on the talent, right? People that are maybe not being showcased on these shorter PLEs.
Oh, it allows for storylines too.
SummerSlam is cool, but I wish that they put this emphasis behind the Survivor Series because they kind of make that a throwaway show. The Rumble, the Rumble is the Rumble itself. That's the attraction, so they don't really have to put too much energy behind that. Everything before that's usually a throwaway. There's hardly ever a title change. But I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think they'll phase them out because they've been around for so long. But the King of the Ring used to be, part of that lineup. Rumble, Mania, King of the Ring, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. It used to be a big 5. So
Wow.
Yeah.
I hope with Survivor Series that they don't let go of it. I honestly feel like that even Survivor Series can be put into a 2-night thing because they can really build upon the teams.
He's gone.
We lost our heel man, but he'll come back. Everybody, don't worry.
Yeah, he'll be back. I'll add him back. Don't worry.
But I would love to see like Survivor Series where the tournaments, night 1, night 2,
night like the traditional stuff.
Yeah. They can have the women's tournament night 1 along with a few title matches, and then night 2 the men's, or swap reverse, do the men's night 1, do the women's night 2, depending on what type of heats build up within that tournament, and that way they can crown, not crown, but they can have the traditional Survivor Series match, and then also night 2 having the War Games. They can do that.
I would save the War Games for whatever hottest thing is happening at the moment, right? But then like you said, that'll be night 2. Night 1 have like a good traditional Survivor Series match between like the Raw and SmackDown boy and girls. You know what I mean? Because there's enough talent, right? There's enough talent now to showcase all of the men and women.
And let's not forget NXT. Let's not forget NXT. And you know what?
Yeah, they did have that a couple years ago, actually. I think like 2 or 3 years ago, they implemented some of the NXT guys, which are now all probably on the main roster now. But
like, I know I'm reaching with this suggestion, and this is just me being a fan. So I'm gonna hashtag fan, fanboy out right now.
Yeah.
But it would be so totally dope for Survivor Series to be 2 nights. They have a tournament, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and then just to like throw some sort of curveball. How they have this deal going on with TNA, have the top stars of TNA form a team,
that would
get involved. That would be so freaking dope.
Yeah, no, that would be interesting, actually. Especially with the collaboration that's happening right now with NXT and TNA. It's not going to finish. I don't think they're going to stop doing that.
Yeah, so that'd be so cool to have it on Survivor Series, and that would be the curveball because people would expect NXT, Raw, SmackDown teams to compete in Survivor Series, but then to throw a TNA team. Into the mix, that would just totally dude, his heel persona is like really getting on my nerves. He keeps leaving.
He's like, I don't like what these guys are talking about, so I'm gonna leave. Fuck these guys. F these guys. Nah, he's probably having issues, obviously. But either way, shout out to Dark Guntha for joining in for the minute or 2 that he was here. I don't know exactly what's happening with his browser. It's restreamed though. I'm thinking about going back to StreamYard. For streams like this, but we'll see. I don't even.
There's a lot of things happening with the streaming platform. Like now, StreamYard, not StreamYard, but it's Restream. Well, actually, Restream and StreamYard used to be able to stream to Facebook groups and Facebook pages.
Oh, not anymore, right?
No, they took that away, and so the only there's a workaround for it, but it's so ghetto. And if you did do it, anyone in the group that was watching, that was commenting, you wouldn't see it. Yeah, it's so bad.
Oh, here we go. We got MH in the house. Let's go.
Motorhead.
Time to play the game.
Oh my god.
What would you say to that, Mills? What would you say to Survivor Series becoming 2 nights and then having a Raw, SmackDown, NXT team, but then surprising everyone with a TNA team competing?
That'd be a nice little swerve.
Yeah.
But I'm 100% sure that they'll not let TNA go over that, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure they're not going to go over.
Yeah, of course. I don't think that would happen.
To the audience member, whoever that amongst gangsta person is.
Okay, who's that?
I want to give them a sincere apology. I know they came to watch this podcast because of me, but I'm having technical issues tonight.
Oh, man. Got to get that iPhone fixed.
It's one of your day winners.
Day one-ish.
So let me ask you guys a question. What did you guys feel about the Wyatt 6 debut match?
I'll let Mill go.
Go Mills. Because you got.
Hold on one second, guys. Go ahead, give them that issue.
All right, I got you. So first of all, I like the presentation, right? I think their intros and their entrances are always, they're always fun to watch, right? Now they're using Bray Wyatt's, song. That he left off with before he passed away, right? Which I love that song. I hope they keep it, right? But I don't know. It's interesting because we've seen Redbeard, aka Eric Rowan, right, in the past. So I knew what I knew what to expect from him, right? As far as in-ring stuff. I hadn't seen the other 2 guys much, obviously, but I was impressed as far as that goes. I didn't feel like there was enough. I don't know. What's the word that I'm looking for? Not scaryism or like being like scared or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's good. It's good where they're going with it. Like I said, I love the fact they're not playing that supernatural role all too much. The supernatural
role. I guess that's not what I'm. Maybe that's not what I'm going with, but it's like I didn't feel it as much during the ring, right? Obviously, each character is going to have some sort of personality to them, but that's kind of what I want to see also, right? Like I don't want them to just focus on Bo Dallas or whatever you want to call him. Taylor
Wyatt.
Rotunda, Bo Wyatt, but Taylor Rotunda, whatever they want to go by here. Let me get Mill Hustles back in here. But it's like, they need to, get us more invested into the rest of the sickos, right? I want to see more from the, the other characters that are there, because again, they kind of, promoted again, Taylor Rotunda's for like weeks and weeks, right? And they really never used any of the other guys. They never really like, had any type of, maybe little small vignettes here and there, but nothing too crazy to the point where they were out there in the ring. Like Taylor was, right? So, I definitely want to see more of that. I think they picked a good group to go against, right? Chad Gable and his new, what is it? Team America or some shit like that.
American Made.
American Made. Yeah, there you go. I'm just gonna call him Team America. I don't care. But anyways, I think Chad Gable still super over right now, coming off the angles with Sami Zayn and the IC title. So he's going to be one of those guys where it's funny because Chad Gable is technically the heel in this, in all of this,
Yeah.
in the story, like, the sickos are the faces, which is super funny because it's like something, you would see in like a horror film. And it's like, these guys are the faces. They're not the bad guys. They're the saviors, basically.
Yeah. For me, with the match in itself, I thought it was good. I like the fact that, they didn't lead with Uncle Howdy to wrestle. They led, with Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy and, Eric Rowan. I felt, obviously, we can see what Nikki Cross's role is during these matches, and that's she protects Uncle Howdy because Chad Gable advanced towards him when he was sitting in the rocking chair, and she just kind of gave him, like, she stood, like, kind of sat up from her laid position, and it just kind of like gave like a warning to Chad, like, back off. But I thought, the intricate use of using each other as weapons too was something that I feel like they're really trying to expand upon, and hopefully they can execute it a little better in their future matches. I feel like that, it was the first match working as a unit, so it kind of felt a little off, like when they used Dexter Lumis and powerbombed him on top of one of the Creed brothers. But it works though, because it's like they're trying to create this not your traditional looking match type of teamwork, and I think as long as they keep pushing towards it, and they just kind of hone in on how each wrestler, how they work, they'll be able to pull it off in a more fluid way. But overall, it was a good match. I liked it.
Yeah, no, I mean, for sure. We'll see how it goes. Is Mill Hustle's there? Hello.
Speak to us, sir.
Okay, he's having issues still. Technical difficulties. That's
difficulties, but to be honest though, with a lot of people that are fans of the Wyatt Six, like, I'm gonna say this right now: don't expect Uncle Howdy a title run anytime soon. He doesn't need it. They don't need title golds right now. They just need to push for good storytelling and to kind of continue on the path of what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
I don't think they need any belts. They shouldn't be contending for tag titles or, sub single titles or main titles. They don't need it right now.
I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing them, go for the tag titles, because right now I don't even know what's going on with the tag titles on Monday Night Raw. So that would be a good lead in. Who
has it? Isn't it the
beats me? The who?
Isn't the Judgment Day still champions?
Oh yeah, they won it back at SummerSlam. Okay, there you go. Or not SummerSlam, but I think it was like they didn't have any of the tag titles won, but I think they won it like a couple weeks ago. But no one even cares about that right now. That's the thing. Like, with all the stories going on with Rhea and everybody else, it's like they're just.
I think it was a bad move. It was a bad move to take the tag titles off the Miz Truth. Honestly, I think it was a stupid move to give it back to the Judgment Day. Miz and R-Truth, they can get the light on them, So like when they gave it back to the Judgment Day, but this time with JD and Finn being the champs, I'm just like, why? Yeah. So it doesn't surprise me that eyes are not on the tag titles. Even the same with the SmackDown WWE tag team titles. They gave it to the Bloodline, and it's like, why? DIY, it took them a bit to get the belts.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh man, I don't know what's going on today, but go ahead and I'll tell you what I thought about the Wyatt Six.
Yeah, go for it.
It's pretty brief. I loved them until they started wrestling. Now they're just regular to me.
Yeah.
Like, I think that they should have waited. First of all, it was a regular match.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, it was just nothing special about it. I think that they started them too early. Everybody, I mean, I don't know, bro. Like, I think that they lost a lot of their aura. I think they should have been.
Uh-oh.
Okay, here we go.
Uncle Howdy strikes again. Da-da! Hashtag Uncle Howdy.
Something happened.
We're all talking about they don't have the supernatural aura around them. Well, the supernatural aura just happened because I think Uncle Howdy's messing with our feed.
Yeah. Oh, God.
I mean, I get what Mills is trying to project. That's why I was saying, like the match and the things that they were doing didn't flow as good as it could have been. Yeah. But there's still time. As far as that, they should have waited for them. I don't think prolonging them being in a match would have been good for them because fans were already wanting to see these guys wreck house. Like, any more promos, any more vignettes would have killed the momentum they had behind them, in my opinion, because they already done enough. Like, they had that whole thing with Howdy and Bo talking. You had the thing on Joe Gacy. You had the thing on Eric Rowan. And it's like, how much more vignettes can you cut and keep heat behind a team, a faction, with before they start to get interest lost in them? Like, these guys are meant to go and hurt people, so put them in the ring already. I just think that they didn't fully deliver to what our expectations was for that team and the type of pain they would have delivered. So I mean that's
I mean I can agree there that there was some sort of like I feel like they set the expectation high, I guess, because the group was hyped up, and then it's never as good as what you think it is, though.
Yeah, Mills, go for it, man, before something happens.
What part did I leave off at?
You left off at that that basically they should have waited to have them compete in ring.
Yeah, I think that they've humanized them way too early.
Yeah.
Okay,
I would have booked them, in my opinion, I would have booked them like Kane when he debuted back in '97, where they thought he was unstoppable.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what they were trying to go with that. But however, the way that the team worked out together, it didn't flow naturally to present that type of extreme pain. I think that's where they lost it in that match. And they have time to develop more as a team together and kind of like, create that smooth and fluidity of them working as a unit. But they didn't bring the pain. Like, they didn't bring anything to really make people fear them.
Yeah. They're just wrestlers now. That's special, that aura about them that we saw during the vignettes, the attack, the QR codes is gone. I think if Uncle Howdy had been.
Oh, man. He said Uncle Howdy. Uncle Howdy, stop messing with our feed, man. Like, okay.
Jesus.
Taylor. It's either Uncle Howdy or, it could be the one and only Bray. And don't take offense, people. Don't get triggered. I'm just messing with everybody.
Yeah.
Trying to keep this thing fun and, interesting.
We're all triggered. We're time to cancel Tito.
How dare you say Bray's name? And look, it's all for show, people. So don't cry. But if you want to cry, I got some tissue here. I can mail you guys. It's absorbent. It collects good tears, and you definitely will have fun with it afterwards. You can make paper airplanes and all kinds of other cool stuff with it. So,
yeah.
I'm letting my Hill persona come out.
Oh gosh.
Oh man, but yeah, I get where Mills is coming on with that. They kind of lost a little bit of momentum. So I think their next match they have needs to be really big, like not big as in like WrestleMania big, but I think it really needs to have more shock factor to it. A lot of hurt, kind of like what the Fiend did. Like, you remember when the Fiend started like showcasing that neck breaker move? The neck snap where he did it to Finn at SummerSlam and had everybody like just all at the same time. They need to do something like that to kind of like solidify, the fear that they're trying to put in people. It was okay. I guess we'll move to SmackDown then. Kind of go on to the whole SmackDown thing and what happened at SmackDown. You want to lead into that?
Give me 1 second while I bring up the thing, because I honestly don't. I always never remember the order of what happens in the show. So and plus, I think
You
I
can
know
wing it.
I can wing it, right? Let's talk about Roman Reigns. Let's talk about Roman Reigns. Yeah,
Let's talk about
that's
talk about we'll do it like this.
Because I feel like SmackDown, aside from I mean, obviously Cody opened the show, right?
Yeah,
But it's
let's talk
like
about
I
that.
just feel like they're aside from that, really like they should have opened the show with Roman. I think him, kind of giving the I guess the match to Kevin Owens kind of just it's kind of just random, right? Here we go. Let's bring that in, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, right? A lot of people are going to kind of question it. Obviously, a lot of people can't make sense of it. I mean, obviously, at least with Gunther and Randy Orton, there was some sort of like story or something to it, right? But Cody's basically just like, oh, because you've been helping me out, and from getting my ass kicked over the last couple months since WrestleMania, I'm gonna give you a title shot, even though Kevin Owens has like not won a match since like last year, probably.
Do you? So here's another thing I thought about last night after
Yeah.
the live stream that we did on your channel yesterday. Do
Yeah.
you think that Cody could, in fact, be kind of borderline heading towards a heel turn by doing this? Because some fans think so. They honestly think that he's trying to avoid Roman getting a match with him again. Kind of like dodging it.
I mean, I don't think so, because like the more that we see of Cody, like he's been getting edgier, like since his stuff with The Rock,
Yeah.
and even WrestleMania, right? Obviously the feuds that he's been having, since then, he's been kind of getting edgier and kind of proving himself. So I don't know, man. I think he's going to be the type of face, that just fights people just to fight people, not to prove that he is the guy. But I don't think he's going to turn heel. If he does, that would be a big shocker, right? Because we know that Cody can be a good heel when he wants to be, right? Especially in the other promotions, as the when he had the little mask going on back in his Intercontinental Championship days, etc. Like, so we know he can be a good heel, but it's more. I think he's going to hold on to that face for title for a while.
Yeah, there's so much animosity is starting to brew up with the fact that Cody, he offered it to Kevin Owens. Which don't get me wrong, Kevin Owens, in my opinion, like he's had some title runs, and I do feel like he is deserving of it, only if he starts to win some matches that puts it down on the record that he is deserving of it. But for him to get a title match, like I do think he does deserve a title match. It's been a while since he's had a singles title. Problem is just like right now is not the time for him. And quite honestly, I feel like that they're only pulling this stunt because they really don't want Roman to go after the belt without letting the fans know that he wants the belt. Because like I said, at the end of SummerSlam, prolonged ending clip, Roman actually says to Cody that that belt belongs to him, and Cody signifies Rhodes Reigns 3. So they teased it at the end of SummerSlam, but it wouldn't make sense for it to happen anytime soon. They got to keep the focus on Roman against the Bloodline, which they did. SmackDown ended with basically Roman almost getting the Ulafala back before being attacked by the Tama Tonga, Tonga, and freaking Solo getting it back in his hands and the stare down.
It's a little bit of symbolism also. They do the same thing with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre with the bracelet, right? So those little things that like matter to the person, right? The bracelet obviously being very meaningful to Punk. That's his wife, that's his his dog, aka his son, right? And then like of course the Ulafala, meaning like that's like the the thing that symbolizes that he is the guy for the family, and that he's putting the food on the table for the rest of his extended family, and that he's the guy basically, right? So
plus too in their culture, the Ulafala is worn by the chief, so that's how you would signify the chief, like out of the clan. So and it was bestowed upon him, obviously, by family. So there's a lot of significance to that. For those people who wonder why it's such an important, and to clarify to people out there, it's not a lei. Okay, it's not a lei. It's called the Ulafala, which is worn by the chief. So that in mind, people. They're like, why is he fighting for a lei? That's
symbolism. But I think they're gonna do something with that. The next couple of I don't know if he's gonna be on SmackDown next week. We'll see if Reigns decides to comes back, I think he has to be on the show for it to make sense. Especially, I don't know if there's going to be any lead up, for the next pay-per-view or PLA, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, there's got to be some sort of story involvement with him and Paul Heyman, right? And then obviously with his his cousins, Jimmy and Jay, right? And we'll see. I mean, I think the fans are going to be super over on it, though. I think it's something the fans want to see, right? The original Sami Zayn included, right? We already kind of saw a little bit of the Sami Zayn and Jey Uso rekindling, right, backstage on Monday Night Raw when they were talking about Sami Zayn getting his shot at the Intercontinental belt again, and then they did the little the little hand gesture, the little handshake that they do.
Yeah.
That we haven't seen that since the original Bloodline.
Yeah.
Broke up.
It'll be cool to see. Like, I do feel like that next Friday, Paul Heyman does need to come out, and you know what, that would actually be a great way to just kind of kick it off before Roman actually enters the ring. I honestly feel like that Paul Heyman resuming his role as the wise man, special counsel, basically delivers a message for Roman to the new Bloodline. Before because obviously they have no fear in attacking Paul, so that's where Roman would come out. I don't, and this may be an unpopular thing, I don't want to hear Roman speak yet. I like this silent, but come in, smash, wreck everybody, leave, like, because his actions is telling a lot of the storyline.
Yeah, and again, he doesn't really need to at this point, obviously, but we'll see, man. I think it's going to be. I think once Paul Heyman comes back into the picture, it's going to be more people are going to want to watch. Like, the story's going to write itself, right? Paul Heyman's kind of a genius when it comes to these things, so hopefully, there's some sort of interaction with him and the writers, and just getting over with everybody. Obviously, I mean, they're already all over. It's kind of crazy. And I just hope that we see something more from the Tongaloans or whatever you want to call them, I guess, because it's just been kind of a shit show with them. Like, and the only one that really has really cared to see is Jacob Fatu. And now that Jacob Fatu is out, they haven't really been updating anybody on the status for him. It's like, okay, what's going to happen, right? They're going to be down a guy, right? So are they going to have to bring somebody else in, right? Another member of the Fatu family, somebody out there that, I mean, there's plenty of them, obviously, right?
I mean, could be that, could be The Rock.
It could be The Rock, I mean, they might have to replace, Jacob Fatu with The Rock at Survivor Series, right? I think, hopefully if that all goes well, that will be a very big event that'll probably close out the show if that does happen. But
I think Jacob will be back for Survivor Series, though, honestly.
Let's hope, man. I think the guy messed up his knee, or he broke something. He broke or fractured something in that fall, man. It looked bad, man, honestly.
Yeah, it did. It looked very bad with him trying to get up and screaming out.
Yeah, you can tell how pissed off he looked, by the way. Like, especially because they had to kind of transition. Whatever was going to happen didn't happen. Like, there was supposed to be more involvement with him, and it just didn't happen, right? They had to kind of pivot the I guess the ending or whatever a little bit. Obviously, Reigns was still supposed to return, but maybe there was supposed to be some sort of stare down between like Reigns and Fatu, maybe in the ring. I would have loved to see that, right? Because that would have been something to see. Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu kind of like standing across the ring from each other, and then of course, obviously Fatu helping out Solo Sikoa to some degree, but then of course it shitting or bottoming out. And in Reigns' favor, but even then, like the way things happened was still good, regardless, of SummerSlam. Yeah. But I don't know, man. And the rest of SmackDown was kind of a snore. That's what I'm saying. It was kind of a throwaway SmackDown. I will make a comment on Andrade versus Santos Escobar. That was actually a very good match.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know exactly where that's leading to. Obviously, they're probably trying to go for the U.S. title. I think that's where it's going, right?
Yeah, that's what it was for number one contender.
Yeah, they interrupted LA Knight, I think, and then it's the number one contendership. That was a very good match in itself. Andrade needed to lose, I think, that match. I think Santos won the match, right?
Yeah.
Which again they're pivoting Andrade to have a match with somebody else. I forgot who interfered in that match, so I'm I'm blanking out, man. I'm sorry. But I know somebody. Yeah, I know somebody interfered in the match against them to where Santos ended up winning. Again, it's somebody that Andrade's been kind of feuding with I'm trying to remember who, but anyways, I'll probably remember eventually. I'm trying to see like where are the pictures of these people. Here we go. Okay, here we go. I'm looking. It wasn't Baron Corbin. Oh, it was Carmelo Hayes. There you go. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh yeah, because their back and forth trade before SummerSlam when they were talking in the interview. Yeah.
So it was Carmelo Hayes. I'm reading the recap over here. Finally, right? They gave the storyline a B plus, and then of course, if you guys saw this match, it was DIY versus I don't know who to call these. I guess I mean they're I like
pretty
deadly, right? You know, I actually kind of like their gimmick. Honestly, I don't know why. I guess it kind of reminds me of like Tyler Breeze.
Yeah, it does.
And it's like a mix of Tyler Breeze and then like a little bit of Fandango in a way.
Oh man, I miss that dude. That dude was so funny when he used to come out.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a mix between those two, you know, and you know, these they're not small guys. They're actually really decent in the ring, right? So you know, it sucks that DIY lost the tag team championships not even after a month, but you know, hopefully they can kind of get the division excited with just the matches that they're having with these guys, right? Because they're good guys also, right? These are good guys in the ring, so.
I think they'll get it back, though. Yeah. I honestly feel like that part of Roman's revenge would be to cost the Bloodline the tag team titles. Yeah. So when DIY goes for it, I think they'll get it back.
Yeah, and again, LA Knight, you know, being super over right now in the ring. I don't remember anything else, honestly. Was there any? I mean, obviously, I think Nia Jax had like a celebration, right? I think you know,
I think she had something like that.
She had some sort of celebration. I don't think Bayley was on the show.
SmackDown, the only thing that I really even cared to see was just I wanted to see if Roman was going to speak. I do know they're still pushing a little bit more with the whole the six woman tag match. You know that's going to happen between
there was
Control. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know they're still kind of pushing on that Damage Control against Sonya Deville's. You know, what do they call her crew, anyways?
I have no clue. Who's she hanging out with again? She's hanging out with
Shayna Baszler and Zoe Starks.
Yeah, I mean, I could think of a name, but I might get canceled. So I'm just gonna call them Team L. Okay, Team L. Team L, right? You can guess what the L stands for, right?
until they officially come up with a name, they're known by us.
So yeah, we're also kind of getting like if you see here on the screen, right? You had Jade Cargill versus one half of the female tag team champions, which the female tag team championship is, I think, just a running joke at this point, right? That's still like at the very bottom of the actual championship spectrum. But you know, you had I think there was some sort of interference, right? And Naomi was able to come back.
Yeah,
and so they're setting up for like some sort of 6-woman tag championship or 6-woman tag match, I guess. Bianca Belair kind of still having to be the master to the student over here, Jade Cargill, which you know obviously, you know, has the look, has the presence, but we're still really not seeing a lot of good things from her in-ring work and her promo abilities. I think that's something that obviously we're still kind of, you know.
I honestly feel like they should just take her out of SmackDown. Like I honestly feel like that they're not even giving her a fair run. Like.
Yeah,
if she is doing any classes in between shows of SmackDown, whoever's doing, you know, her promo work, whoever her coaches for promos and stuff like that needs to step their game up and help her because, you know, there's still more to her that needs to be done. Mm-hmm. I honestly feel like that they're really, really dropping the ball with Jade. And it would be so sad for like her to actually finally get like her good push. In the context of her going against Bianca Belair, like why wait to have it shine then? Shine it now, you know. So work with her now, get her ready because she's got it. She just needs work.
Yeah, and it's not 100% there, obviously, like you said, but it's like, you know, she's like, you know, close to being where she needs to be. I think it's just her style. I don't know what's going on with her style, man. Like, I feel like she's a big girl that's trying to do like top rope shit and stuff like that. It's just not going to work.
I didn't try to position her as in like, you know, like the total package. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's big, she's strong, she's got power moves, she's got speed, she's got, you know, agility.
And that's the thing I really don't care to see. I don't want to see agility from a girl like her. You know, I want to see like, you know,
power,
kind of like power and China-esque type moves, right?
Yeah.
Where, you know, we're seeing just like,
I want to see her to wreck people. Like I
would love to see her do like a lot more like choke holds and like, you know, grappling,
technical,
you know, kind of more technical, you know, where she's tearing the legs off of somebody, right? Because she has the arm strength for that, right? something to that extent where, you can see her like, obviously win a match just based on little things like that, right? Obviously that's more of like a heel tactic, right? The hold and stuff like that. But I mean, we don't need to see her do a million backflips like, Will Ospreay or, whatever we see in that other promotion over there.
She needs to pull a Roman Reigns, come in, wreck everything, leave. That will work for her. She's not a luchador, so let's put that to bed. But I do notice, that the women's tag team championship is like, on a very downside of scale of things. I mean, it's like, I'm probably going to say it's right alongside, depending on how things go for the women's speed championship title. But it'll probably be down there with the speed titles, until
my God.
Because they are dropped. I mean, they didn't announce that. Triple H announced that there will be a tournament.
They're gonna have a women's speech championship also. Oh my God.
Yeah. Look at Paul Levesque's Twitter. He mentioned it. A lot of people didn't understand why they would have a women's speed tournament, but it means there's going to be a women's speed title. So I guess the talks of the women's championship lineup having a new belt, that was the new belt that was rumored.
Oh wow. Okay. All right, give me 1 second. I gotta open the door for these doggos real quick.
Yeah, no worries.
One second.
But I mean, aside from that, you're gonna have the women's speed championship, the men's speed championship. I feel like that the women's tag team titles right down there, along.
Okay, I'm back.
It's a whole cluster fudge of things. But the tag team division, honestly, something needs to happen to revive the prestigiousness. Because when I grew up watching wrestling, the tag team championships stood for something. Even the Intercontinental Championship was referenced as the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, and it stood for something. You had Ravishing Rick Rude, the Ultimate Warrior, the Honky Tonk Man, Mr. Perfect. You had these guys wear that belt, and that belt was held with high regard as the WWF Championship. And yes, I said WWF, and I don't care about the World Wildlife Foundation.
Screw the WWF. Get the F out, man. Get it out.
Got the F out. But I mean, those belts meant something back in the day, and it's like I love the product of pro wrestling today. I just hate the fact of how they diminished, the legacy of those belts. Even the United States Heavyweight Championship in WCW, that meant something. It was up there with the Big Gold. It was up there with it. It's just the Big Gold represented the world, and the United States Heavyweight Championship represented the United States. So if you were that champion, it was equivalent to being an Intercontinental WWF Heavyweight Champion. It's lost its value.
And it's pretty like it's interesting. Like I it's so funny because it's like you have these belts that have names like Intercontinental in the United States, but it's like, you don't really see a lot of like patriotism attached to the U.S. title, right? And you don't see a lot of international stuff attached to the Intercontinental title, right? Which and it's funny because it's like I feel like AEW is doing the same thing with their international championship and their continental title, right? They have like 1,000 titles over there, but it's the same thing, right? They have shows like Forbidden Door, right, where like they have these belts and it's like they don't showcase those belts on those shows. I'm like, what the fuck? Like how do you not have the international championship not defended 2 years in a row at Forbidden Door? Like it makes no sense to me. Like when you bring in all these Japanese guys or all these CML guys, and it's just like, what the fuck, So that's something I want to see more of, man. I want to see like of course now that the WWE is like doing more international shows, man. Like let's put the Intercontinental title like on the line in other countries, right? Obviously it's a title that's meant to be defended around the world, right? Not just in the US, right? Obviously, or bring in talent, right? Whether it be from TNA or whatever from other countries that maybe people don't know about these wrestlers, right? Get that title defended in some sort of way to where it's like, okay, this is the meaning of this title, and this person is the champion of this title for a reason, right? Not just to say, oh, this is the next guy because it's the stepping stone, right? That makes no sense to me, right?
Yeah.
As a kid, right, it could have been a little bit different to us. I mean, obviously, I think back then Vince actually did do stuff like that, right? He did, bring in people, especially like at big events like the Rumble, right, where they would bring in, other people from like CMLL and just other territories and stuff like that to come in and, fight for, certain things. That's something I want to see more of, man. I need to see that.
They need to do stuff like that. Like the Intercontinental Championship, I agree with you. They need to start bringing some outside talent to challenge for it. you know, because like on NXT they got the North American Championship, right? Because I know like a lot of people have the Intercontinental title being a title that represents Canada, United States, Mexico. It doesn't. It just kind of just represents that it can worldly in that sense.
Yeah, and
the North
keep in
American
mind it was merged with the European title. Remember, so
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Intercontinental Champion is like basically being a European champion also.
Yeah, that's, I mean, when you look at the belt history, right? And the
Mhm.
North American Championship, that's what obviously represents the North American continent. So they have all these belts. They have significant meanings behind them, and they need to mean something again.
Yeah.
I think that's why, like, in the way that pro wrestling is today, I feel like that wrestlers that have single titles, their single titles don't matter unless they have the WWE undisputed champion or the world heavyweight champion. It's like, not everyone can go after that gold at the same time. So these belts need to mean something. And when they started doing that pay-per-view Night of Champions, I honestly felt like that. I thought champions were going to face each other within that context, and they started off that way. I remember, like, they had the Intercontinental and the United States champion face off, and tag team champions faced off, but they never put much stock behind those champions as to like why these two champions are facing off, and what does those belts mean in the company. And that's where it gets lost. Like, you're printing belts like the economy's inflated, where it's printing money that doesn't matter, right? You're making all these new titles. The Speed Championship, I get it. They want to have a thing going on X, but I don't think X really needs a title defense. I mean, the matches are supposed to be like how long? 5 minutes?
I think it's actually supposed to be 3 minutes or less, actually.
Yeah, that's like a ridiculous thing to have a title belt for. A 3-minute match, that's like giving someone a freaking participation award. The 3-minute match doesn't show prestigiousness. It doesn't show champion material. Because how would you get someone that is a former Speed champion to solidify that they are championship material for the World Heavyweight Championship? It's like, people are only going to recognize you for being a champion for beating someone in 3 minutes or less. You're never going to get that type of match with the World Heavyweight Championship unless, you happen to be Sheamus.
It's like, where can you even see Speed, man? I'm trying to look for it, honestly. Media list. I'm trying to look up WWE Speed, but I'm not seeing any videos or anything on it. Like,
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like, I've looked for it too, and I'm like, where do we see this? Or is it like a paid subscription thing you have to pay? Because on X now, they have subscription based posts, and you have to pay to see it.
I'm gonna follow them on X, so we'll find out. WWE Speed. Let's see. They only have 28,000 followers, by the way.
I don't think it's gonna go. It's the same thing, like, what is it, the 205?
Here we go. I'm gonna put it on real quick so we can kind of see. So this is the last video they posted. I mean, I probably would have preferred 205 live again, but let's see.
Let's go. Kicking off SummerSlam weekend here on WWE.
Oh, that was bad, dude. He almost dropped him on his head.
Suplex to kick off tonight's festivities.
This is before he joined American Made, right?
Yeah, they only have 3. Yeah, this is before SummerSlam. This is only 3 minutes, so they have 3 minutes. Like, they have Pete Dunne, who they're not doing anything with him anymore. Like,
they broke his team up?
I don't know if he's still teaming with the other guy, the little guy. I forget his name, Tyler Bate.
Yeah,
but it's like, oh my god, dude! Like 3 minutes, like.
Yeah, this almost reminds me, like, again, another revamped, crossover, mutated cruiserweight division. Honestly, but more catered towards finishing a match quickly, and it's like, could you imagine if a big guy like Bronson Reed was in this and he defeated people in under 3 minutes, but then you put him in a world title match and he couldn't get the job done in 3 minutes? It would so totally wreck his image.
Yeah, it makes like no sense. Like, I don't know if Andrade is still the Speed champion on the guy side. I think he lost it already, actually. But it's like who cares? I mean, I don't know.
I don't think anyone really cared. Like, with the name Speed, it also changes up the dynamics. It makes people think that you're not going to be champion very long because the championship quickly changes. It's like, so why? Like, I can see them having something like this on X just to build a following on X. I just don't see the whole gimmick behind it of like, 3-minute matches or whatever. Like they could do like a highlight reel that just shows like all the best parts of a match in 3 minutes if they wanted to. But not having a champion crowned. There's no reason for a belt for this division, not at all whatsoever.
I mean, I think it would be a good idea, maybe like have it, but then like whoever wins like these little tournaments,
have number one contenders for the tag titles. Just kind of throw a curveball in there. Yeah. Okay.
Are they using his old music?
I think so.
Hold on, let me go back there really quick. Let me go back.
What an effort by both men, but it is Pete Dunne.
It sounds similar, but it's not. I mean, his original music from NXT was pretty bomb, honestly. I liked his NXT and NXT UK theme, but all right. I guess let's close it out, man, because I actually got to go.
Yep, let's do it, man. We've been on for like an hour and a half, and our
I don't want to do another 3 hours today.
Our resident heel man's not returning.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like Mill is gone for the evening, so let's go ahead and close
Howdy
out.
got him. Uncle Howdy kidnapped him, so we'll post a picture on X showing you guys what happened to Mills.
For sure. But yeah, man. Oh yeah, before we go though, I wasn't able to grant ownership on here for you. I don't know why, but I was able to give you manager access, so you should be able to actually like access the channel and like post videos and stuff like that. So I don't know if you got the email on that. Let me know if you got the email, because it says it's pending on my end. So
I'll look through on it.
You have to go through your email, and then once you see it, it says like, oh, this person invited you. You have to accept the invite. Once you accept the invite, then you'll have manager privileges to the channel.
Nice.
Yeah, just check that out whenever you get the chance, because I was like, I didn't see an acceptance yet, so I was like, oh, maybe it's not the same as if like when I was doing it with my other channels where I granted ownership, but it's the same thing basically. It's just that you can even delete the channel, or you can even delete the channel, having access to that. Don't delete the channel, please.
I'm not gonna do that. I'll probably end up going live on there, like on the mobile device from time to time.
If it lets you, go for it, man. I mean, I would love to see that, honestly.
Yeah. All right. Well, take us home, man.
All right, man. Again, thanks again, guys, for keeping it up with the Deathlock podcast today on August the 11th, Sunday. Again, we don't really have a set time for the show for the millions and millions of the fans listening in on the YouTubes over here. We really appreciate anyone that, listens to the playback, and of course, follows us and subscribes to the channel. Smash that like button if you guys love the content, obviously. And of course, again, we're going to try to put out more content. We'll see how everyone's schedules is the next, couple of weeks, I guess. We'll see how it goes.
Yep, for sure, man. Glad you guys had me on here. It was a joy on here.
Mm-hmm.
And we will see you guys on the next one.
Yes, sir. You guys have a good